We're at Frog Hollow and we're about to hit the water. This is a private stretch of stream that is managed by the farm owners here. And Scott, who is one of the guys that works this water, is gonna show us around, but I've been told there's a lot of fish out here and I can't wait to get on the water. What's up, Scott?
Hey, Jameson.
What's the plan for today?
Plan for the day is to get you on fish.
That's a pretty good plan.
Fly fishing has gotten a lot popular in this area, mostly for the rainbow trout, brown trout. You gotta know what's in the river. What are these trout feeding on and things like that. Then we'll fish this top section and then just kind of work our way down.
This is kind of like a natural break. I love fishing below like dams. And the fish tend to make their way to there and it's a natural break that they can't, usually make it up.
It's a great spot to start off in.
After we got down in the water, it really didn't take long at all. So he basically told me where to put the fly. I put it in there, and I think it was the first or second cast that I had a bite. All right, I got one. First one of the day.
All right. Woo. So just get him up to the net, get that head up out of the water. Sun will get underneath him. All right, there we go.
My first nice rainbow of the trip was a few minutes after literally putting my feet in the water. I've got some of Seaguar's trout leader. This is 4 pound. I just have a few inches of that because the water is kind of clear and I think the fish will be obviously less spooked by the fluorocarbon leader. And then I've got just a little black streamer with a bead head to get it down a little bit quicker. It's working. There we go. Oh, big fish. Oh my gosh, I think he broke me off. Scott said because these trout are just in this eddy circling, you don't really know which direction when they eat it they're going. He said to just set straight up, and I keep wanting to set to the side, which I think is why I've missed a couple. Old habits die hard. Woo! Found one. See if I can get this one to net. Around the corner, man.
Jason, you're killing it over here.
Well, I had a good guide. Look at that. Beautiful fish.
What I like about fly fishing is it's more than just catching a fish, it's a challenge. Then when they eat, setting the hook, then is a whole other challenge, and actually having the fish stay on, bringing it to hand, just very, very fun.
That was a really fun day because I got to play around with throwing some different setups, did some nymphing, did some streamers. So it was kind of fun to target different fish in different ways.
There we go.
That's a pretty good sized fish, so I'm gonna set him free and keep on fishing.
We were all able to get on a lot of nice fish at Frog Hollow. Actually, one of the highlights of the trip was catching a couple of these little bass species, the Chattahoochee bass. I had to ask Scott what they were because I'd never seen them before. They're super colored up and they only get about 5 to 11 inches. So caught a couple of them and just so beautiful. Not a target species, but I kind of almost want to make it a target species, how pretty they are. Aggressive little dude. It's really hard to leave fish, especially when they were biting and there's tons more there, but we had to keep making this trip. So it was time to pack down camp and say goodbye to all the animals and the folks at Frog Hollow. One of the fun challenges that goes along with finding cool fishing spots along the way was also finding a cool camping spot. Finally, we found this one that was a little bit more technical to get to, but once we got in there, it was wide open and the fog was all around. It really gave it this unique feel for sure of all the camp spots that we stayed on this trip. This morning after breaking camp, we really wanted to just hit the trail and put some miles and just see the wilderness, see the Georgia Traverse. Because we've got the fish now, we wanted to complete the trip out with a little more trail. I think the plan for today is we just keep knocking off some miles of the Traverse and maybe we try to make to the creek crossing. What's it called? Charlie's Creek.
Yep.
Well, it'll make for some cool driving, so let's get on.
Let's hit the road.
So we spent all morning just cruising on these forest roads and it was beautiful. The fog lifted and we could see the mountains in the distance. Got to do some really cool technical stuff on a couple of the trails and even pulled down to this really beautiful spot right by the water where Eric was able to make a few more casts before we had to split up and part ways.
You know, can't approach a creek like this while on a road trip and not make a cast. This is the road trip angler after all. Overlanding allows you to have the experience to get out there and then just stay the night, and then the next day get to keep exploring, and then the next day keep exploring. It doesn't take much to convince Jameson to go on an adventure. That's why he's always one of the first people I call. Then I gotta like convince the wife to let me go, but he's always ready, locked and loaded.
Eric had to split off the trail from Joe and I, but we were gonna keep working our way along the route and take the long way home and just enjoy the last few hours we have before we have to get back to the grind, you know. Trying to get to the Charlie's Creek crossing, that's kind of the iconic creek crossing on the Georgia Traverse, and it's towards the end for us of the trail. There's a lot of really beautiful water crossings too, and you don't want to park in the creeks and stuff like that, but these roads go right through them and there's no bridges, so getting to take the truck and drive across a creek is not something you get to do every day, and it's pretty cool to be able to do it and just see how pristine this water is, even though a road goes right through the middle of the creek bed. As we're heading along the trail and getting closer and closer to the end of this trip, every mile that we put behind us, I keep looking at this water that's running right alongside the truck, and I told Joe, you've got to pull over. I've got to make at least a couple casts. This place looks too juicy not to at least make a couple of casts before we get off the trail. I know we've got to get home at some point, but one more cast never hurt no one. There he is! I just caught that one more fish. Woo! Well, this trip has been absolutely amazing. I've had a great time camping and hanging out with some of my best friends, meeting a few new people, and catching some fish. But I'm gonna make a couple more casts, and then I'm gonna hit the road. A bunch of cool people having a good time, and now it's time to head back, but I'm not gonna jump back on the highway. I'm taking the long way.